Hello, welcome to the NY Trade Center Kyiv investment memo presentation, where we will show you a little bit about the NY Trade Center, about Ukraine, and why it is a good investment opportunity. Now, with the disclaimer, this is something that we just have to take out just for legal reasons. It is a disclaimer that says that all the information here was taken from a historical background. It was historical numbers, historical trends. We made some forecasting where we do not promise that they will become true, even though they were made using the, let's call it the best forecast methodologies. Now here's the index, as you can see. Now for the introduction, this document is for the promotion and capital raise of the NY Trade Center. The asset will be located in Ukraine, near Kyiv, and it will be a real estate asset dedicated to delivering the following services: wholesale and commerce warehousing, event venue, exhibition center, hospitality service, and some others that we'll explain furthermore in this presentation. The required investment of the project is for $500 million or $500 million for the first investment to enter on Q4 2020. This first investment we expect it to be of $200 million, and from then on, every 6 months we expect to receive $100 extra million until Q2 2022, when we will have all the capital investment required for this project. Now, a little bit about the NY Group. This is the company that is backing project, international holding founded in 2010 by Koen, and it is a holding dedicated to manage all the assets in different sectors that Mr. Naum holds. Some of these assets include companies in diamond trading, business aviation, digital technologies, interior design, jewelry manufacturing, construction, retail, real estate, security, and philanthropy. Some of its main assets are Daniel MS DMCC, a jewelry manufacturer and supplier, Jenny Koen, a jewelry designer and retailer, NY Securities, a security services company, NY Development, a real estate developer, TES Infrastructure Construction, a private jet, a charter company, Amber Palm, a decoration retail company that makes, let's call it manufacturing of special stones art, Time to Know, an online marketing agency, and some others that Mr. Naum Koen holds in his holding company, NY and Associates. Now, let's begin with Ukraine. Why invest in Ukraine? Well, it's the largest Eastern Europe country. It gained its independence in 1991 when it dissolved from the Cold War, and since then it's been working towards becoming a more capitalistic economy and getting far from the communism ideology. It's also a greatly positioned geographically location. It has a great geographic location. As you can see here in this small map, Ukraine works as a bridge between Europe, Eastern Europe, Russia, and the MENA region, and Asia also. It is bordered with the Black Sea and holds most of the port of the Black Sea. Now we're going towards politics and government of Ukraine. The 1996 Constitution lays out the structure of the national government, which is basically very standard. It has 3 powers: executive, judicial, and legislative. The president is elected every 5 years, and he selects the prime minister. There's 450 deputies in the legislative power that are also elected every 5 years, and the judicial power is comprised of courts of general jurisdictions that are organized by territory and specialty. Ukraine is not a member of the EU, but it's working to harmonize many of its standards to meet EU requirements and to join the EU in 2024. However, it is a member of the World Trade Organization and a signatory to the World Trade Organization Trade Facilitation Agreement. Ukraine also has visa-free entry into Europe, which improves the economic climate and credibility, as well as European citizens have visa-free entry to Ukraine. Now, one of the interesting things that has happened recently is the election of the new president, Mr. Volodymyr Zelensky, who was inaugurated as the Ukrainian president on past May 20, 2019. He was previously an actor and an activist looking to works towards the opening of the Ukrainian economy and the development of the country, and also the diminishing of the corruption. When he got elected after being a member of a new party, he promised that he would change the country, that will be on the people's power, that will provide mechanisms for referendums that will allow him to fight corruption, including removal of immunity from high political figures. He's also looking to restore the judicial system and to restore confidence in the state so that he can provide an attractive economy for foreign investment. This by proposing a tax amnesty, 5% tax for big business, and new laws that will give transparency to foreign direct investors. He's a young president looking towards creating a better country. He's focused on restoring the economy, making Ukraine grow, and helping it become one of the strongest countries in the Europe geographic. With regard to corruption, they are aware of it and they've been fighting it. Over the past 5 years, the government has established a transparent government procurement through the Prosoro online system that allows all procurement services and businesses between the government and the private sector to be as transparent as possible. They're also working towards meeting EU standards, and by recognizing its corruption problem, the government has passed and implemented a number of reforms to improve the business environment with clearer rules and a fairer competition. As you can see, the corruption rank lowered 10 points from 2017 to 2018, and the corruption perception index has been growing since 2015, which clearly shows their willingness towards developing a corrupt-free country, which will take time. But as long as they're doing it, they're going in the right way and they're developing a more stable and open economy. Now, going with foreign direct investment, the main investors in Ukraine in 2018 were Cyprus, Netherlands, UK, Germany, and Switzerland. Some of the main deals in 2018, they focused on transportation, agriculture, and energy, and were worth over $2 billion US. They came from investors from USA, Germany, Saudi, Norway, and Spain. Ukraine is an attractive location for investment due to its large domestic market, agricultural potential, energy and mineral resources, and strategic geographic location, which, as we said previously, uses the country as a bridge between Europe, Eastern Europe, Russia, Asia, and the MENA region. It's also the biggest Black Sea port. It's been working to its business, facilitate investment through reforms focused in the banking sector, privatization, monitoring, and decentralizing. More reforms have been accomplished in the last 3 years than in the previous 23 years combined, which clearly shows their willingness and their motivation to improve the country and grow it. They're working towards making it a better country, a better economy. They're moving further away from the Russian model, and they're going closer to the globalized model. As you can see, there's been a curve here, and on average, foreign direct investment has been developing in the country. It's been between $3.2 billion and $2.5 billion in the last 4 years, and it is expected to grow in the following years. So, with regards to M&A activity in the country, well, with the yields improving, occupancy rates climbing, commercial real estate was a focus in Ukraine and M&A, making real estate and construction the most attractive sectors in 2018, with a total of 23 deals. The encouraging increase seen in the inbound deals, particularly for investors new to Ukraine, foreign investors, is based on a sound economic and structural indicators, a comparatively low price of assets, and it is expected for the inbound investment to continue to grow over the years ahead with more foreign entrants to the market. In real estate and construction, transactions were largely confined to retail and office spaces, with deals worth around $124 million in 2018. The consumer market sector was on par with the previous year, with a total of 7 announced transactions. The value of deal making increased more than twofold to $122 million. As you can see here, the M&A deal value, it is on a curve, but it is expected to grow. Last year, there were $1.8 billion on M&A transactions and 80 deals, which shows a trend of growth in the number of M&A deals that's been going on. There's more deals happening in the Ukraine, which means that there's more players, there's more people, there's more activity, and there's more investing. The current economic situation of Ukraine clearly shown by its credit rating. It is currently on a B- based by the S&P. This means that it's investment grade, and it's investment grade with high growth potential. It is not a AAA country where it's all in growth and development, that's it. And it's not a junk country where there's no hope. It's a stable country in a situation in which it's investment grade, and it is in a stage where it has a tendency to grow and to create profit. So it's a rentable country, it's a profitable country. Since 2016, the Ukrainian economy has been showing signs of stabilization, and in 2019, companies grew in IT, healthcare, food and beverage, infrastructure, renewable and nuclear energy sectors, and fast-moving consumer goods. This tends to increase on the discretionary spending of its population. The country is involved in many spheres of commerce: crop farming, timber harvesting, coal, ironstone, etc. Many of these provide support, provide growth to the GDP. The IMF praised the country for its prudent fiscal and monetary policies, and they even granted them a loan of $3.9 billion US. Ukraine is now being recognized as having the potential to become a major European economy. Its main sectors: agricultural sector, is also rich in minerals, the Ukrainian manufacturing sector, and coal mining, chemical products, mechanical products, and shipbuilding are also important sectors in this economy. Now, let's go and see some numbers. In the past, the projections clearly show that it is expected for the GDP to grow, which will cause an increase in the GDP per capita growth, which will also cause the increase on consumer spending. The more money people will be making, the more money they will be spending, and the more the country will be developing. This will also cause a decrease in inflation. So the projection says that by 2022, inflation will be stabilized at 5.3%. This positive outlook of the economy is clearly shown in the Ukrainian yields. As you can see, in the first one-year Ukrainian bond, the yield is 19%, but on the 30-year Ukrainian bond, the yield is 18.12%. This comes because it is expected that in 3 years, the economy will be more stabilized in a better shape than in 1 year. So the economic tendency makes it that the longer the term, the safer the bond, in a very interesting way. Okay, going into international trade now, we can see that Ukraine has a well-developed industrial base and rich farmlands. The country has immense agricultural potential, mineral and industrial resources, and they're all drawn for exportation. These exports have helped the country's economy to stabilize over the past few years thanks to its financial gains. It is an exportation country, and they are positively helping the GDP. Also, Ukraine has imports of energy, mineral fuel, oil, transportation equipment, machinery and parts, chemicals, papers, and textiles. Some of its main partners are Germany, Turkey, Italy, and the USA. In trade logistics, as you can see, in border compliance, the time to export in Ukraine is less than the time in Europe and Central Asia, and it's also cheaper to export from Ukraine than from Europe and Central Asia. Even though it takes a little bit more time to import, it is still cheaper to import to Ukraine than to Europe and, well, Central Asia. As we previously said, there's been a trend of growth in private consumption expenditure, which shows how the population is spending more thanks to the fact that they're earning more. Also, the country is proud to have a lot of free trade agreements that have helped develop the economic cooperation with some nations and that increase the Ukrainian export volume through the liberalization of access of goods and services on foreign markets. Some of the countries that Ukraine has a free trade agreement with include Montenegro, Macedonia, Azerbaijan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Canada, Turkey, and Israel, Moldova, Switzerland, and some other countries. Continuing with international trade, we can see the trend here. We can see how historical exports have been behaving in the past years and how historical imports have been behaving similarly. So in fact, there's been some years in which there's been more export than import. For example, in 2015, Ukraine exported $41.7 billion and imported $39.6 billion. This shows there's a good balance in the trade balance, and even though it's been on deficit, and as normal economies tend to be on deficit, it's a very low gap and it can be closed. Here we can also see the main import products, which are mineral products and machines, and the main export products, which include metals and vegetable products. Now, with regard to the property market in the Kyiv region, we can see that there's a real estate supply for large wholesale locations in Ukraine, and it's approximately of 1.9 million square meters. Tenant demand is strong. The demand is even higher than the supply at the moment, which clearly shows how the vacancy rate has been decreasing, and it's going to tend to decrease. It's also show a high yield, which will tend to increase because there's way much more demand than supply. There's been a constant improvement of market sentiment and investment, thanks to currency stability, improved dynamics of the commercial property market, and an increasing number of local companies seeking to buy real estate, whether it is for investment or for personal use. The low development activity combined with increasing of occupier demand has led to a decrease in vacancy, as we've shown here, and an upward pressure on effective occupational costs in the most sought after properties during 2018. This has also caused an increase in the demand yield. The presently witnessed gradual increase in commercial activity in Ukraine has resulted in a strengthening of occupier demand, and combined with the low development dynamics will result in further full-time vacancy, upward pressure, and rents. This means higher yields for rents because there's going to be more demand than supply. It is expected that the prime yield logistic properties in Kyiv region will decrease to 12.75 in 2018, and supposedly they're expected to remain stable. But in reality, based on the economic situation and the current demand compared to the current supply, it will grow because we are in a demand market. Those who have the supply are those who have the power in this real estate economy at this moment. Some other facts about what's going on in Ukraine and its attractiveness include the consumer markets, which thanks to a rising promise of higher wages and pensions, has caused income growth in Ukraine, allowing households to increase their discretionary spending. This trend should continue, and in the coming months, IKEA, Decathlon, and many other stores have announced plans of expansion in Ukraine. Also, the following global brands are planning to enter, like Zara, De Facto, and H&M, Zara Home to be specific. Now, with regard to infrastructure, as you can see here, Ukraine has a full infrastructure capable of being a trade economy and a trade country that would work as a bridge that is exploiting its optimal geographical location. It is also the most powerful port with a full waterfront of the Black Sea, with 18 merchant seaports and 12 port points. Some Ukrainian benefits. Ukraine is an attractive investment option for its large consumer market based on its highly educated and cost-competitive workforce, its abundant natural resources with fertile lands and a strategic geographical position that makes it the gate of Europe, Russia, and Asia. This, with improved ties, makes to the European market, it gives Ukraine the potential to become the next cyber economy. Owners in property in Ukraine, this is a very specific benefit, are subject to the local real estate tax, but some property owners are exempt from this tax, which include, for example, non-residential premises that are used by small and medium-sized businesses. This is some of our tenants. Our future tenants will be exempt of the real estate tax thanks to this exemption. Some companies have found success in Ukraine, particularly in the agriculture, technology sectors, and consumer goods sectors. And the main asset of the Ukrainian economy currently are the emerging middle class, a government that seeks to improve the business climate to facilitate investment, the presence of investors such as Kraft Foods, Coca-Cola, Hewlett-Packard, and many others, and a strong international financial support from multilateral organizations like the IMF and the World Bank. Now, getting into the project, the NY Group Trade Center Kyiv. A little bit about it, it will be the largest trade and exhibition center in Ukraine with 105 hectares of area, 10,000 training spaces, 24 square meters each, a concert hall for 7,000 people, and many other special features. The project's objective is to create an effective and efficient wholesale facility, nourishing a balance between supply and demand of goods and services in the country, causing an increase of trade, a higher volume of commodity flow and money movement at the regional, state, and international level. The trade center will be divided into three basic areas: wholesaling and clothing center, DIY and construction center, and a food products area. The exhibition center will have spacious pavilions, conference hall, a hotel, and supporting infrastructure, including a concert hall that will be able to seat around 7,000 people. The complex will provide a synergy of wholesale and retail trade with entertainment industry in one location. It is expected that the NY Trade Center will be creating such a great positive impact to the economy that it will help increase the GDP, and it will create over 50,000 additional jobs. With regard to the location of the NY Trade Center, Kyiv, it will be a 41-minute drive from Kyiv in this area, which is near Markalavika, a location that provides a logistic structure convenient for both B2B and B2C businesses. The property is located southwest of Kyiv on the M05 highway, which is this one here, and will benefit also from the construction of a large circular road around Kyiv, which will be adjacent to the shopping complex's territory and the rail routes from Baku that are planned to launch in the near future. The project is also located within a 5-hour drive from Odessa, where there is a commercial port and one of the biggest ports of the whole Black Sea. And at the moment, the land has been already purchased for $22 million. Now, about the design firm that is creating the blueprints for the project and the design and the interior design for the project, we are using AVG, founded in Ukraine in 2004 by Andrei Sergei Voyko. The company has 3 divisions: design, architecture, and construction. It has a track record of designing and developing malls, office complexes, residential complexes, houses, and many other type of iconic buildings in Ukraine and some other parts of Europe. It is an awarded company, and they're currently developing all the drawings for the construction of the NY Trade Center Kyiv. Now, with regard to the construction, the company that's going to build the NY Trade Center Kyiv is TESS Technological Engineering Solution, a company that is actually a member of the NY Group Consortium. And it's a company that specializes in 3 construction branches: engineering, which offers services of construction, of microtunnel and civil engineering works; TESS Coating, which offers external protection and internal protection. Basically, it focuses on all the protections and reinforcements of civil engineering products; and TechScan products and services, which include mostly services of managing and maintaining these infrastructure projects and civil engineering constructions. They have a big track record and a big global experience in North Africa, the MENA region, Ukraine, Turkey, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Saudi, etc. Some of its experience comes from road building, bridge building, tunnel building, microtunneling, gas pipeline building, making freeways, and most of this type of civil engineering works. To create the NY Trade Center, we studied some similar cases. We taken them out from Moscow, from Russia. Some of the most important cases we took from Russia include the following 3. First, we have the Salovod Shopping Center, one of the largest wholesale and retail trade centers in Russia, with an area of 40 hectares, 8,000 trade pavilions, and 9,500 parking spaces, and over 25 restaurants. This wholesale market sells products from gardening products, cosmetic perfumes, event planning accessories, to jewelry, children's products, leather, and food products. Basically, it's the biggest wholesale market in the whole Russia. It is specialized in providing its tenants some special services in logistics, marketing, and fulfilling documentation for import and export. It is one of the biggest wholesale centers in the world and has more than 100,000 buyers visit the center daily. We also based the NY Trade Center on the Crocus Expo, one of the biggest exposition centers in the planet, that has more than 55,000 exhibitions, 350 events, and 10 million visitors a year. This exhibition center is comprised of 3 pavilions with 19 exhibition halls, 49 conference halls, 1 hotel and 1 outdoor arena and parking lot. It is made of 1 million square meters. Some of its most important exhibitions include the Moscow Boat Show, Green Day Expo, Import Substitution, Promedia Tech, Wine Cart, Road Expo, and many more. This is also where we take base to create all the exhibition center that we're going to do in NY Trade Center. Finally, we took example of Food City, one of the main centers for buying food straight from the farmers and the producers near Moscow. This is a place where people can get directly from the farms meat, fish, dairy, bakery products, grocery, preservatives, pet supplies, baby food, etc., straight from the producers of these said products. It's the largest wholesale food distribution center in Moscow, Russia. It's the first agricultural cluster in Moscow, and is comprised of 91 hectares for retail complex, offices, warehouses, cargo, vehicle parking, hotel, and visitors parking. The tenants of the center can enjoy services like the training, loaders, electrical rental, car drivers, scale list, and many others. Now, going towards the business model of the NY Trade Center and its strategy. There's going to be 10,000 trading spaces that will be sold. As they are sold, the tenants will pay a service monthly fee. We will also be able to rent those tenants a warehousing space and charge them for the trucking stations and docking stations. That's going to be on stage 1 here. That will be ending of 2021, and it will be located around here. On stage 2, we will have the exhibition center, the conference halls, that will have pavilions and a concert hall that will be rented daily. This will be located here, and it will enter into operation around ending 2024. There will be a residency for labor employees and a hotel for visitors. There will also be other income coming from an homologation center that will permit the homologation of international products as they enter the country and the complex, a custom terminal that will make all transactions more effective and efficient, and well, the loading docks for trucks and the special designated parking lot. Now, who are we targeting with this business proposal? Well, first of all, the tenants of each location will be responsible of fitting each place with the finishing touches, which include furniture, electricity bill, water bills, chairs, tables, all of the last details to make them whole. Let's call it like that. Now, the target tenants are manufacturers from all over the world, all over the region, especially Turkey, Belarus, Ukraine, Poland, Georgia, and Azerbaijan. Even there is also a high focus on the complex that will rent some of its trading places to the Chinese market. Chinese manufacturers that will use the complex as a bridge to enter in a more effective way into the region. Some of the available products offered in the center will be clothing, souvenirs, construction materials, house materials, bed sheets, technology products, etc. And the expected visitors of this complex will be internationally background, but mainly there will be shoppers and suppliers from East Europe and locals. Now, the first projection that we've been able to make are the income projections. So for the trading spaces, we will start selling them, and based on a very conservative analysis of 50 units sold monthly, it will take around 16.7 years to sell all the 10,000 units. As the units are sold, we will start getting income from selling the units every year, 50 units a month, and as we sell more units and more units enter into being used and being bought by tenants, we will charge them a service fee. As you can see, the service fee, so it's going here once we open the center. This analysis is made with the service fee of $500 a month, but it will be variable depending on the location of the trading space, between $500 and $1,500 a month. Each of the trading spaces will be sold as of now at $50,000. And the idea is for the tenants to use it either for their own operation or as an investment opportunity for them to rent to someone that will use it. The food court, we will rent the whole food court, 30 stalls. Each food court will be rented at 5,000 US dollars a month, and it is expected that at the opening day of first stage, the all 30 food stalls will be rented, so we will have this income stream coming on here. As of the second stage, we have now projections of the concert hall. Based on this very conservative analysis, we see that we will at a charge of 95 US dollars a day, or you can put it at 13.57 US dollars per seat, the 7,000 seats. The concert hall, if we make an analysis that it will be rented, let's say 18 days of the month, every month, will provide us with this income that will also bring us some stability at stage 2. As of now, this is everything we have, and as soon as we have more information, we will be pleased to share it with you. Thank you very much.